you've ever lived with, worked with, or even seen a child with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, or ADHD, you know the difficulty these kids have. They're impulsive, they have trouble paying attention, they can become agitated by just the smallest things.
And what you may not know is that clinical studies suggest that kids with ADHD are often blessed with some very unique abilities. And with her new book, The Gift of ADHD, Dr. Lara Honos-Webb is hoping to get people thinking about the condition very differently. Thank you so much for joining us, Lara.
Now, a lot of people don't think of this as a gift. A lot of parents even don't think of this as a gift. What do you mean by that?
Well, translate the spaciness into creativity, and it takes imagination to be original and innovative. And what are kids paying attention to when they're not paying attention in school? And if you simply ask them that question, you get some really interesting answers. They're usually elaborating the ideas and going off into wild imagination, which is what our culture needs now.
And you have a great story that kind of highlights what you're talking about, don't you, in the book?
Well, I have a lot of great stories, but I mean, some of them are, for example, kids that are really hyperactive. When you ask them, you know, why are you so hyperactive? So many times they'll say, don't ask me to explain why everyone else is a slow, boring thinker.
They're like, come on, get excited.
Yes. They're very excited and passionate and exuberant about so many different things, and when you can channel it, it's a great gift.
So what happens when they become adults? How can they channel that into something different as an adult?
Well, so many successful executives and entrepreneurs have ADD, and
I've heard that. It's true, isn't it?
Well, think about it. Impulsiveness is recklessness. And what do you need to be success? You need to take risks, and that's what recklessness is. And
I never thought about it like
that.
Yes,
yeah. And so it's the willingness, for example, a person who drops out of high school to start a business and is wildly successful. I interview someone like that, many people like that in my book, who did terrible in school but do wonderful in business because they have intuition, energy, multitask. They do wonderful.
Carrie's here. You're a parent, and your son Zach's here nodding his head going, yep, 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 I'm special, I got it. What's the most difficult part for you?
The most difficult thing is for him to just sit still and pay attention in times when he's supposed to sit still.
Yeah, are you feeling it right now, Zach? Yeah. Over there.
But I saw you, Zach, nodding your head about creative. When you're in class, do you think about why are these people so slow? I mean, is that what comes into your mind? I saw your head go, yeah.
Yeah, it's very difficult because it's like in my family, most of the people are smart at math, so I pretty much complete it really fast. And really accurately. So
you're way ahead.
I pretty much have a lot of free time in class.
You don't want to have that. Mom, do you worry about his future at all?
No.
Not at all?
No, not at all. I figure, he's creative, he's got amazing skills, and, he's been given this extra energy just to get him to wherever it is he's going to be.
So, Laura, how do you do this? How do you get a child to develop these unique skills? Recognize them and develop them if you're a parent.
Number one rule is build on strengths. Don't spend too much time patching up weaknesses, because if you spend too much time with that patching up, then you're not elaborating the gifts. If a child comes home with an A in art and a C in math, send them to tutoring for art, not the math class. That's how we make geniuses.
And it looks like Zach's really a confident young boy, right?
Yeah.
So self-esteem is the key. What you're getting at is self-esteem. Don't knock them down. Just like any child, really, look for the positive and work them up.
That's exactly right. When you focus on the gifts, you build those up. And I'm very concerned, the diagnosis, ADD, means deficit disorder. Can you imagine the toll that takes on a child who's just building their identity? I'm very concerned about the impact of that, and that's why it's really important to translate the symptoms into gifts.
So help us translate what would be a deficit into a strength. How does a parent do that? Just give us an example of how to do that.
Your child is spaced out. Say, what are you doing? What are you paying attention to? Ask them and then listen. You will hear amazing things. For example, the kid who wrote Aragon, he was 16 years old, and they said, well, how did you write that book? And he said, well, I was just spaced out the whole time, and I had all these fantasies about dragons.
Wow.
Now, what if you're a parent and you say, no, I want you to go do your social studies homework? And meanwhile, he wrote this blockbuster about dragons.
Hey, Zach, I'm curious. What are you thinking about right now?
I have no idea.
He's chilling and listening, relaxing and listening.
Now, what about adults? What kind of jobs do you see them in? Because you see Zach here, you kind of wonder, well, what happens later in life?
So many kids with ADD are actually artists, and this is one of the big problems, is that our culture says, well, you're not going to make enough money as an artist, and so we don't support that. Many are artists, many are entertainers, many are public relations people, media people, because it takes such high energy to have people interested in watching you. So, and entrepreneurs and executives also have ADD.
As people watch this, and I know there are a lot of parents that are watching this going, yeah, but what is the one thing you want people to take away from your book and what you're talking about with these kids?
Exactly. It may not look good now, but the future is going to be determined on how you think of them. And so when you look for the gifts and find the gifts and focus on those, you're going to change the present and create a new future.
That's wonderful. You know what?
Well, yeah, Carrie, you're going to give you a copy of her book here.
You can have it. Zach, thanks for being here, all right? We'll be right back. Coming up, our movie guy and gal discuss this weekend's flicks. Hopefully they play nice, but I doubt it. And our 411 correspondent Sandy D checks out this weekend's soapbox derby race in Fremont.
At Les Schwab, we like going the extra mile, and you're the reason. The reason for our quality line of reliable batteries, dependable shocks and struts to help with safer handling, the reason for complete brake service from experienced technicians, and our supermarket selection of tires and wheels. At Les Schwab, we appreciate your business. It's why we provide money-back warranties and service you can count on. You are the reason.